Well, the late game on Monday is between two teams that need to just turn things around. They've suffered, they're coming at the back of losses, probably in games which they thought they should have won or could have won. It's Hyderabad against Punjab. And with Ajit Agarkar and Brad Hogg, we will run through the key battles, talking points, build up to it, put them under the gun on the clock, and look at their likely playing 11s. Let's look at our first match day match point here on ESPNcricinfo Matchday T20. It's the lower middle order troubles that Hyderabad have. We've spoken to death about the importance of David Warner and Shikhar Dhawan. Yuvraj Singh has started well, but they would have expected a little more in that chase against Kolkata the other night. Let's just show you the numbers and put our attention to two batsmen who come with a bit of a reputation given the experience in the IPL and that they have performed at the higher stages before. Naman Ojha has just got an average of 13 in the tournament and 105 is the strike rate. Deepak Hooda, for all the promise he showed at Rajasthan, bought for good money by Sunrisers, average of 11, strike rate of 119. So let's start by throwing the discussion to Ajit Agarkar. I think you've bowled enough to these two at some point, or at least Naman Ojha I think you have bowled too. But just can they expect more out of the likes of Ojha and Hooda, Ajit?
They've got to. I mean, the way that team is structured, there is definitely an over-dependence on Warner because Shikhar Dhawan's not doing as well as we've seen Shikhar Dhawan do before. Yuvraj is batting a lot better this season. He's had a couple of really good knocks. But these two are critical because you don't want Warner to go in thinking that he's got to get a 70 or a 80 or a 90 every time he goes out, and that puts so these two have to stand up. I think there's enough experience that they've got, whether it's in the T20 or generally playing cricket around India. So the only thing about those stats is, a couple of the games or the first two games which Sunrisers won, they didn't have a lot to do in terms of batting, or the second game they didn't get a bat. So sometimes stats can be a little bit misleading, but they've got to do a lot more and take pressure off some of the top order batters. Okay,
Brad, I don't know if you can tell me enough about whether you bowled to these two, and maybe you can tell me why. But do they have the game to support Warner and Dhawan, or is this just adding more pressure to the top three, looking at what they've got under them? 45 seconds for you.
Well, if you look at the stats of the Sunrisers, we probably never got a bowl out them because the top order were doing too good last time. But look, there's plenty in the shed that can have a change for this batting lineup. Dwivedi can come in and keep for Ojha. He's a very experienced campaigner and hasn't got a bad record. But there's a young man, Tammy Agarwal. I think he's a left-handed batsman. He was a leading run scorer in the domestic competition this year. So they might make a couple of changes here, Sunrisers. But if I was going to make a change, I'd only make one change. And that would be either change the keeper or the batter. But you only make the one change. You don't want to make two changes and overdo it. I just think they should change the keeper and go for Dwivedi first. Yep. The experience, if he does well, then maybe bring in Tammy Agarwal for Hooda down the track, just knowing that you've got that depth in your batting to cover the experience.
Well, we'll see if that's how they indeed go about. But Naman Ojha, who you'd think would be walking a tightrope, so would Deepak Hooda. When the Sunrisers management take that call, we'll know. We'll know the playing 11s in a minute from these two. Let's take our next match day match point, and it is about the man that we can't stop talking about for Punjab. It started well and then it's gone a bit flat last couple of games. It's Glenn Maxwell and where he should bat. Has he really found that out in the games that they've had? Maybe our numbers will help him. I don't think Glenn Maxwell's a big fan of numbers. He tends to get a bit edgy when journalists put it to him in press conferences, but a strike rate of 200, over 200 when batting at 3. He's not bad in a small sample size, batting at the top of the order either, but that's an international cricket more than the IPL. But 145 at 4, average of 22, 25. The lower he pushes himself, Brad Hogg, understandably, that those numbers don't flatter. But is there an answer to this? Is it always about the situation, or can we tell ourselves, no, we know where Glenn Maxwell should bat and it is there? 45 seconds for you.
Well, we never know where people should bat. You don't know what the team lineup is, but from what we've seen in this tournament, they've played a couple of games and they've shuffled that batting order a number of times, and that's a little disappointing. We've seen Glenn Maxwell come out early in the innings, gives himself time where he likes to have 10 or so balls so he can get in, and then he can make that up at the end because we know how powerful, how he finds the boundaries. So he's got to give himself more time. The last game, I think that's where Delhi Devils got on top. He came out too late. He left the work for the rest of his teammates. He's the leader. He's got to come out at number 3, and the stats just show that he's best out number 3. I think the captain should always bat 3.
The lowest, in my opinion, is 4. I mean, why would you, when you're in good form, come further down the order?
Let's take it to Ajit now. How much of this is to do with the fact that he's not sure about who his middle order batsmen are? He's tried to change. He's brought Owen Morgan. That didn't work in the last game. Can he just need to put all that aside and tell himself where he needs to bat, or do you still have to wait and see depending on how the form of the rest is?
No, but I mean, they've won the first 2 games with him scoring runs. Look, Amla's looked in decent touch. There's nothing wrong. Was a bit unfortunate last game. So, and Saha usually bats number 3. I mean, you could argue that Maxwell can come number 3 instead of Saha, which is, I think if they get a good start, that might happen. But he can't come lower than 4. I mean, last game, there was no need for 2 left-handers to be there just because there was a leggy and a left-arm spinner. I mean, 1 left-hander is enough if you want to take down a ball that's turning into you. Maxwell, just because of his form, just because of how good he's been in the recent month or month and a half that he's been in India, whether it's in Tests or T20 when he started, you don't want to waste good form. Try and capitalize early on in the competition because they don't have a team which can come back if they get into a rut.
Okay, let's talk about those teams now and see what Hoggy and Ajit have gone with as far as their playing 11s go. And let's see Brad Hogg's pick first for Punjab, who made some interesting changes in the last game. They dropped Ishant Sharma and they've dropped Ishant Sharma and Brad Hogg brings him straight back into the team. So he's dropped Varunaren in place of him, and you've gone for Marcus Stoinis, who makes his return to the team as well. So Brad Hogg, you can give me 45 seconds. Tell me why you've gone for Stoinis and dropped David Miller.
Well, Stoinis adds more with the bowling, so you really need that all-round attack. I'd like to keep Miller in there, but he just hasn't performed enough over the last year and a bit for me. You've only just brought Morgan in, you've given him 1 game, you've got to give him another opportunity, but for me, Maxwell's got about 3 or 4. He's got to be up there. If Vora gets out, I reckon Maxwell should come in because Vora's the one who's tried and take on the bowling. Amlar's just there to build the innings. If Amlar gets out, then Saha might be able to come out the number 3 position. So they're both floating there. But for me, the crucial thing is the batting order. And the reason why I've brought Sharma in is it's just, you need 3 Sharmas out there. You've just got to have something different. It's just not working for the Kings 11 at the moment.
Well, let's see if he enjoys bowling at his first-class home ground, Ishant Sharma. Not too many grounds in India that he enjoys bowling in IPL cricket. But let's see if he can get a go at the Kotla. Ajit Agarkar, time to see what you've gone for in your Hyderabad 11. So quick look at whether you've made any changes. I can see you've made 2, and you've brought in Mustafizur Rahman at the expense of Ben Cutting and Kane Williamson at number 3, presumably in place of Moses Henriques. So Ajit, how does that affect the balance? Why have you gone to axe the 2 Aussies that Brad Hogg is so fond of? Off you go in 45 seconds.
I think it's a lot easier sitting here and picking the team. Teams, when they are doing well or not doing well, think differently. The only thing is I've gone for 2 specialists. The one thing is Kane Williamson gives you a lot more stability or assurance, if you like. Not to say that he'll score 100 tomorrow, but gives you that much more. So I don't think there's any comparison between him and Henriques. He'll score always over Henriques for me. Cutting's hitting ability they might miss. But his bowling economy over his career is close to 9. So I don't think they're going to miss his bowling. Mustafizur, they've got to get him back. Yeah. They might lose a little bit in batting where, the others have to take some responsibility. But 4 internationals in the top 5, you don't want to leave it to the lower order anyway. So just gone for specialists. They need to get their batting right, top order batting right.
Hoggy's itching to join butt in. Go for it, Hoggy.
That's good. You're dropping Australians. Yeah, great. Good on you.
Someone has to. You're not.
Yeah. But I reckon. I think Ishant Sharma could be the key here because he does bowl well to the left-handers, takes the ball away, and gets that extra bounce. And I think that could be the difference in this game. If he gets through the likes of Warner, Darwin, and Singh, they're in a lot of trouble.
Okay, well, the day for Ishant Sharma is Monday. We will see how that goes. Brad Hogg, Ajit Agarkar, thank you very much for your thoughts. We keep getting them through the course of the tournament on our network, on ESPNcricinfo, on Facebook, as well as on YouTube. Make sure you send your questions and comments via social media using the hashtags. We'll focus on that doubleheader on Monday. Catch our live show at 7:30 p.m. on the site as well as Facebook. Until then, let's see how the teams go on this doubleheader.